Does this phone look somehow familiar to you? In case you think it's the LeEco Le 2, you are partially right, but even though it looks identical, it isn't the Le 2 but the Le S3. To be more accurate, it is the X626 model, the Chinese version of the LeEco Le S3 known from the USA. But basically, the phone actually is a Le 2. There is just one minor change. What change this is and how well the phone performed during our test, you will know after watching this video. I'm Christopher for ChinaMobileMag. Enjoy watching. So the packaging is identical to the Le 2 as well, and even the package contents are the very same. The phone itself is entirely made from metal. Antenna caps are not there. Instead, there are antenna lines which almost seamlessly integrate with the body. The body is very sturdy and can't be bent even with a lot of force. The fingerprint scanner on the rear, as usual on LeEco phones, offers a mirror surface. A glossy LeEco logo on the lower half of the back tells you who the manufacturer is. The hardware buttons sit in place tightly and are made from metal too. The SIM tray also fits perfectly. A headphone jack is missing. Instead, there is an infrared blaster on the upper side. The headphone jack's replacement is a USB Type-C port with CD-LTE support on the lower side. An adapter from USB Type-C to 3.5mm is included. The front is very typical for the LeEco phones. We again see the symmetrical arrangement of front camera and sensors next to the earpiece. An RGB status LED is there too, but invisible unless it lights up. The same applies to the touch keys sub the screen, which are totally invisible until they light up. Another typical LeEco feature are the black bezels around the screen, which makes the screen look bezel-less when the phone is turned off and also make it look smaller than it is. The bezels are 2.2mm thin. The 5.5-inch Full HD screen performs great. The picture quality is crisp and sharp and colors do pop, and the contrast is very good with intense blacks. What's more, viewing angles are top-notch too, so there is no change in picture when flipping the phone. The brightness of the panel is high, so there are no issues when using it outside. In the phone settings, you can set color profiles for the screen, and there also is a scaling option like on the iPhone, which enables you to choose between having more screen estate or larger UI elements. The 10-point digitizer does work like a charm too and allows fast typing. Just while scrolling, there is a slight input delay. The screen glass so far survived daily usage without scratches. Fingerprints don't settle too fast, so you won't be busy cleaning your screen all day long. Specs-wise, the LeEco Le S3 X626 again doesn't differ from the LeEco Le 2 X620 model. They again use a Mediatek Helio X20 processor here, which has its A72 cores clocked at 2.3 GHz along 8 A53 cores, which according to several CPU apps are clocked at 1.8 GHz in this case. Usually those are split into quad-core clusters as well. GPU used is a Meili T880 MP4 GPU. During day-to-day use, this processor delivers a good performance. A difference between a Snapdragon 820 powered phone is only noticeable sometimes. For example, when scrolling the Facebook feed or switching through a lot of tabs in Google Chrome, which sometimes causes some lags. But bottom line is that the performance still is more than sufficient for day-to-day use. The problematic part is gaming. At first, pretty much all games do run smooth at highest graphics settings. But after a few minutes, this isn't the case anymore. It seems like thermal throttling is the case of this, which due to high SoC temperature shuts off the A72 cores and clocks down the GPU. The result is heavy stutter in pretty much all 3D games. Seems like LeEco really didn't apply proper cooling here, which is a pity. The LeEco Le S3 X626 comes with 4 GB of RAM, which reaches almost 6 GB per second. Not a bad speed, but not the maximum of LPDDR3 RAM either. The 32 GB memory, which by the way can't be expanded, also isn't really slow, but not the fastest one either. We reached 150 MB per second reading and 95 MB per second writing speed. Sensor equipment delivers all important things such as a pedometer, compass and gyroscope. The fingerprint scanner isn't the fastest one, but at least is very reliable. The LeEco Le S3 of course runs LeEco's EUI custom ROM, which currently runs in version 5.9 based on Android 6.0 Marshmallow. Of course, once again, the phone arrived with a translated shop ROM, which we obviously wanted to get rid of. Surprise was big, however, when we couldn't find a firmware for this device. Long story short, the LeEco Le S3 X626 runs exactly the same firmware as the LeEco Le 2 X620, so you can use the firmware package of this phone in order to restore the original firmware. But please bear in mind that this only applies to the X626 model and not the Le S3 with Qualcomm processor. More about this one later on in the final verdict. There isn't much to tell about the system itself. Supported international language once again only is English, the Google Play Store needs to be installed manually and bloatware is there but can be uninstalled for the most part. Oh, by the way, there is one interesting change in the new EUI versions. You can now enable performance mode of the processor for specific apps, so if you want to access the maximum horsepower all the time, just select all installed apps there. But bear in mind that this reduces battery life quite a bit. In the reception quality department, we have been stunned by the extremely good Wi-Fi reception quality. We haven't been able to notice a big difference in bandwidth between directly next to the router and one floor below. Also, GPS does work flawlessly, even though during our test we had bad weather with very cloudy sky. A fast fix with 12 satellites and 1 meter accuracy has been reached. Testing Google Fit and navigation, we haven't noticed any shortcomings as well. Mobile network reception is on high-end level 2, so the Le S3 does everything right here. Well, almost, as also often Band 20 LTE is not supported. Also, we would have wished to see NFC support since at around $190 to $210 the Le S3 X626 isn't the cheapest phone. The internal speaker reaches an impressive volume with a decent depth, so it does indeed sound quite decent. Headphones can be used with a Type-C to 3.5mm adapter only, except you got a pair of CDLA Type-C earbuds. Using the adapter, there is no loss in quality that can be heard. Telephony quality is very decent, the earpiece delivers a clear and natural sound, and the microphone is very good too. Noise cancelling is supported. The main camera inside the LeEco Le S3 X626 is a 16 megapixel Omnivision OV16880 based module with f2.0 aperture. The front camera is based on a 8 megapixel Omnivision OV8865 with f2.2 aperture and wide-angle lens. The 16 megapixel resolution of the main camera, however, can only be used in 4:3 mode. If you want to take pictures in 16:9 mode, it is reduced to 12 megapixels. At daylight, the main camera delivers nice shots with proper color reproduction. The amount of detail could be better though. Pictures sometimes look a bit blurry quickly when zooming into them, and fine details are often lost. Direct light is also something the module doesn't like at all. Shots taken under these conditions look foggy and there are lots of lens flares. The shutter and focus times are very short. Low light performance of the camera is surprisingly decent and there isn't much noise. The LED flash is very bright, however, in large rooms it kind of fails and the camera does too. Videos can be recorded in 4K, the quality isn't on high-end level, but still quite decent. Audio quality basically is top-notch and sufficient for recording concerts and stuff, but there is some omnipresent high-frequency background noise, which is annoying. The front camera with good light creates decent selfies, however, as soon as it gets darker, the quality is reduced a lot. The 3000 mAh battery inside the LeEco Le S3 doesn't last as long as we expected. At 14% per hour, screen-on consumption is quite high. During daily use, we never reached more than 6 hours of screen-on time. That's enough for a day, but not for the evening or even night, so you will have to recharge a bit. Talking charging, this is the only part where the LeEco Le S3 X626 is different from the LeEco Le 2 X620. Instead of Pump Express Plus, it uses Qualcomm Quick Charge 3.0 to quickly charge the battery. It takes half an hour to charge it from 20 to 60%, and a full charge takes around 1 hour. If you worry about battery longevity, you can disable fast charging inside the battery settings. So what's the final verdict? Well, the LeEco Le S3 X626 without a doubt and a bad phone. But we don't quite get the purpose of it. Was it really necessary to launch another LeEco Le 2 with added Quick Charge 3.0 support and not even selling it at a bargain price tag? We believe that the LeEco Le S3 with the module number X522 makes a lot more sense, since at around $140 to $160 it is a lot cheaper, and the only difference is that there are 3 GB RAM only, and it boasts a Snapdragon 652 processor, which compared to the Helio X20 is the better chipset, since it does offer a much better GPU performance and thus smoother user experience. So that's all for this review. The shop link and more information is located down in the video description. I am Christopher for CMM, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.